Silent mind, strong soul. These words reflect the life I, Henry David Thoreau, lived in solitude by Walden Pond. In silence I found clarity, strength and purpose. In this video we'll explore 5 powerful truths that show how silence builds not weakness but unshakable inner strength. Let us begin. 1. Solitude is not emptiness. When I walked alone beside Walden Pond, many assumed I was retreating from life, from society, conversation and the so-called progress of the modern world. But they misunderstood. I was not escaping life. I was embracing it in its purest, most undiluted form. In solitude, I did not find loneliness. I found presence. We live in a world that constantly equates silence with absence and solitude with lack. People are taught to believe that being alone means being less, that without noise we are incomplete. But I say, the opposite is true. When the external world grows quiet, the internal world begins to speak. Silence, far from being a void, is a space filled with potential, with clarity, and with truth. It is not empty. It is sacred. In solitude, your thoughts stop racing to compete with others. Your emotions are not pulled by external expectations. You begin to see your true self, not the self you perform for the world, but the self that lives quietly underneath. A silent mind gives the soul room to breathe, to stretch, and to grow strong. Think of nature. A seed does not grow in chaos. It grows in the quiet of the soil. A lake does not reflect the stars when the surface is stirred. It must be still. In the same way, the soul does not awaken in the noise of daily life, but in the calm spaces between. I did not go to the woods to be away from people. I went to be near myself, and in doing so, I became more connected to life than ever before. Solitude is not a hollow room. It is a full chamber rich with the echoes of your own heart and the wisdom of the world around you. So remember this: solitude is not emptiness. It is a return, a remembering, a quiet reunion with your soul. 2. Noise distracts, silence directs. The world today is a constant hum, filled with voices competing to be heard, with opinions shouted from rooftops, and with ambitions that chase one another like leaves in a storm. In every corner something demands your attention: advertisements, alerts, expectations and fears. But in that noise a man begins to forget who he truly is. He becomes reactive, not reflective. He moves, but he does not choose his direction. I discovered at Walden Pond that true direction is never found in the noise. It is revealed in the silence. When I stepped away from society's endless chatter, when I let the noise die down, something remarkable happened. A stillness arose within me, and with it came a quiet voice. Not a sound in the ears, but a knowing in the soul. It whispered truths that no crowd had ever spoken. Noise distracts the senses. It scatters the mind like wind over water. You may feel busy, even productive, but beneath that motion you are drifting. True purpose does not shout. It waits patiently behind the noise. Only those who are brave enough to be still will hear it. We often think clarity comes from movement, more effort, more activity, but that is like trying to find your reflection in a disturbed pond. The more you stir, the less you see. Stillness, however, allows your path to reveal itself. When the dust of noise settles, the road beneath becomes visible. In silence, I learned to stop asking others where to go. I began listening to the voice within that already knew. Not the voice shaped by ego or fear, but the deeper self, the soul that always knew its way home. So I say this: if you seek direction, do not run harder, pause longer. Let silence become your compass, and it will point not outward, but inward, toward the truth only you can follow. 3. Inner peace builds outer power. In my days beside Walden Pond, I learned that true strength is never loud. The mightiest tree does not shout as it grows. The mountains do not boast their endurance, and yet they remain unshaken through the fiercest storms. Their power lies in their stillness. So too, must we find our strength not in noise but in peace. When your mind is full of clamor, when your thoughts are racing, opinions battling, and fears echoing, you are not in control. You are reacting to life, not directing it. But when the inner noise quiets, something changes. You no longer need to prove yourself with words, with anger, with show. Your presence alone begins to speak. It says, I know who I am. I am grounded. The world often tells us that power is loud, that to lead you must dominate, to win, you must shout. But that kind of strength is brittle. It crumbles in adversity. Real power lies in calmness. When chaos rises, it is the still mind that stands tall. When insult strikes, it is the composed heart that remains whole. A silent mind is not a weak mind. It is disciplined. It is trained to hold its center in the storm. And from that silence comes resilience. The kind of courage that does not waver when tested, that does not need noise to feel strong. It simply is strong. I did not find this power in books, nor in crowds. I found it in quiet mornings, in the hush of the forest, in moments when I was truly alone. That's when I realized inner peace is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of strength. So remember this, build peace within, and the world will feel your strength without a single word. Your calm will become your power, and your silence, your shield. 4. Reflection awakens purpose. There were mornings at Walden when the world was so still, I could hear the rustle of a single leaf, the ripple of a fish beneath the surface, or the faint whisper of wind through pine. In those sacred hours of silence, I discovered something no classroom, no city, no gathering ever taught me. Purpose is not something we chase in the world, it's something we uncover within. People often run toward noise, thinking that constant movement means growth. But movement without meaning is like a ship lost at sea, sailing fast yet going nowhere. It was in stillness and reflection that I began to ask not just what am I doing, but why am I doing it? The quiet gave space for such questions to rise, and more importantly, for the answers to emerge. I learned more in those quiet mornings, watching the sun slowly rise across the pond, than I ever did in the rush of crowded rooms or busy streets. Not because the world had nothing to teach me, but because my own mind finally had the space to listen. Reflection does not slow your journey, it defines it. It clarifies your intentions. It reveals what truly matters and strips away all that is hollow. And when you know why you must grow, why your soul longs to reach beyond its current shape, then that growth becomes powerful. It becomes purposeful. In silence I saw who I had been, and who I was meant to become. And that vision, that understanding gave me a reason to keep walking, even when the path was steep. So I tell you this, do not fear the pause, embrace it, for in that pause, purpose wakes. The truth of your path is not found in the noise of others' expectations, but in the quiet honesty of your own reflection. 5. Silence connects you to nature and self. When I sat in silence by Walden Pond, I didn't just hear the birds singing, the wind rustling through the trees, or the ripple of water against the shore. I heard something deeper, something that resonated in my very being. I heard my own heart. I heard the essence of my soul, in harmony with everything around me. Nature speaks not in words, but in stillness. It is only when the noise of the world dies down that we can truly hear it. In silence, you do not merely observe nature, you become one with it. The boundaries between the self and the world around you begin to dissolve. You are no longer a separate entity, standing apart from the trees, the sky, the earth. You realize you are part of something larger, something eternal, something peaceful, something far more powerful than the isolated self. In the busyness of life, we tend to forget that we are creatures of nature, interconnected with every leaf, every gust of wind, every wave. We build walls of thought and action that separate us from the world around us, but in the quiet, those walls vanish. Silence invites us to drop those barriers, to remember our roots, to return to our true nature. When the mind is still, it is as if the soul awakens to its connection with the earth, the trees, the birds. It is no longer just a part of the human world, it is part of the cosmic order. You feel that you belong, not just to the land beneath you, but to the entire universe. The peace of the natural world enters you, and in turn, you experience an inner peace that transcends all fears, all doubts. So I say this in silence, you do not lose yourself, you find yourself, and in that finding you realize you are never truly alone. You are always connected to nature, to the world, and to the deepest part of your soul. If this voice of timeless wisdom has echoed something true in your heart, then don't let it end here. Subscribe to Echo of Legends, where silence still speaks and the soul still listens. Until next time, choose stillness.